Hello, everyone. I'm Jen, and thank you for tuning to GA Future Grandkids. This is the show that asks the question, what would you say to your future grandkids? What life lessons, legacy, stories, and memorabilia do you want to share with the next generation? Because life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop to look around once in a while, you could miss it. Just guess which movie it's from. Thank you all for joining us live on Facebook and on YouTube as well. I hope you all been well, been good, and I'm sure that you're going to really, really like our guest today because she is born and bred in Singapore. She graduated with a BA in English Literature from the National University of Singapore, and in 2014, she applied for the Mentor Access Project, an annual program initiated by the National Arts Council of Singapore that develops young and emerging writers in Singapore's 4 official languages. She was one of 6 mentees selected for the fiction category. Her debut fantasy novel, The Night of Legends, was written under the mentorship of award-winning writer Dave Chua and was published by Penguin Books in Southeast Asia. The Light of Stars is the thrilling sequel to the Night of Legends trilogy, The Dawn of Reckoning. The final book in the 3-part series is slated for publication in June 2025. We hear more of that later on the show. And she also juggles all of that with a day job as a civil servant at the Ministry of Communications in Singapore. So let's give a big warm welcome here on Dear Future Grandkids, Kayce Teo. Hey, Kayce, how's it going?
Hello, hi Jen.
How are
I'm
you?
good. I'm good. Thanks for the great introduction.
No, that's all you. And thank you for being with us here. We're coming to you live. So I'm in Singapore, Kayce is Singapore, and we know this show is all about building a video time capsule. And just want to check, you have your Dear Future Grandkids box with you with all your memorabilia and memories and items you want to share, right?
Yes, I have it here.
Thank you so much. And you can tell, it's a big production budget here. It's not like we send any stickers or just an artwork and get our guests to print it out and stick on random boxes. No. It's all bespoke. It's made one of a kind. But Kayce, thank you so much for that. So like always in the show, we start with some quick fire questions, okay? So it's going to come at you thick and fast and just answer as quickly as you can. So here's the first one. What's the first movie you ever saw that you can remember?
Space Jam.
Which one? Spaceship?
Space Jam.
Oh,
You know the
Space
Bugs
Jam?
Bunny one?
Yeah, Michael Jordan, Bugs Bunny, Warner Bros. Space Jam was the first movie you remembered that you ever saw, really? Was it
Yes,
cinema?
I think so. In
Okay.
cinemas.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was a very, very long time ago.
Okay, Space Jam. Now, what's your worst habit?
My worst habit, probably
Yeah.
procrastination. Procrastinating about everything, and then scrolling TikTok now.
All I'm gonna say is, you have a friend in me. Definitely, procrastination is my worst enemy as well. So, what is a one song or a song that you listen to when you're feeling down or you're stuck and you need to pick me up? Like, what song do you listen to? Is there a go-to song?
There are a lot of if I need a pick me up, I go to one of 17's, upbeat songs. But there's this song that I really like, but it makes me quite emotional. Circles. Yeah.
Circles. And who's that by?
17.
Oh, 17. So this is the K-pop band, yeah?
Yeah, it's the K-pop band. It was written by one of the members who also produces all their songs, for another member whose mom passed away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's a really emotional song. Even though I don't understand Korean at all, it just brings on the feels.
It's the melody, the song itself, right? It just brings up all those feelings. Okay,
Yeah.
17, and I'm sure we'll hear more about 17 later on the show. Now, what job did you want or dream about when you were growing up? What was the dream job?
Oh, I had several. I wanted to be an inventor. I wanted to be a scientist. I wanted to be a teacher. And then eventually I settled on being a writer when I was in, I think, primary six. But
Nice.
eventually I canned that idea, and then right now I'm a comms professional. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I do
I mean,
comms.
we'll get into that later as well because it's quite hard to make a living from just being a writer, right? So you are kind of living your dream, but also just the reality of life has kicked in where you need a job to pay for bills. So I totally get it. Now, what's the first book you bought that you can remember? First book that you actually bought?
I bought that I remember. That was probably so long ago.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the Enid Blyton books.
Okay.
Yeah, those with something and other stories. It's a collection of short stories, and I used to love them when I was younger because it was so well written, and the short stories are short, so
Yeah.
there's no need to actually follow through. I mean, it keeps your attention span. Yeah, so it's probably one of those.
Nice. So especially like an introduction to books and fiction and everything else, right? So it's easy to understand, and also it's not too draggy and long. Now, right.
Mm.
Final question. Here at the quick fire round. What is the most expensive mistake you have ever made?
Expensive mistake. Um, Probably. I
Like a
okay.
bad
I can't remember.
purchase or something, you know. And in Singapore, we can all safely say it's buying a car because it's so expensive here. But it
Oh
depends.
yes,
What
yes,
would be
yes.
the most what would the most expensive mistake that you think you've made? I mean,
Probably going on a kind of detour in uh after secondary school because
mhm.
when I was in secondary school, everyone was talking about how STEM jobs would be the future, and even though at that point I really loved literature,
Yeah.
I could go to a JC. I decided, and all the factors, I decided to take a diploma in chemical process technology. That was 3 years of my life, and then after that, I decided no, I'm not going to do this anymore. And then I applied to both NUS, National University of Singapore, and NTU, to study English Lit. And I got into NUS, and I think that kind of started me back on the right path on what I wanted to do.
Nice. It's a good pivot. So it's just it's a expensive sort of mistake, but I think it's just allowed you to grow as a person and really to maybe discover and rediscover what you actually wanted to do and what you love. Great,
True.
Casey. Thank you so much. So now we're going to move on into getting physically into your dear future grandkids box because now we want you to show us what are some of the items that have special meaning for you from your work, your travels, that perhaps one day you'd like to show to your future grandkids. Now, what have you got for us?
Okay. So I have some pictures. They are very old pictures, and this is me with can you can see the Caucasian, right? He is who I call my gong gong. So he used to be my dad used to work for him, and he became a very close family friend. So
Okay.
he is born in the UK, but he has a Singaporean IC. He has a pink IC. He had
Okay.
a
So,
pink IC.
yeah,
Yeah. So Singaporean,
yeah,
but Caucasian. And
yeah.
then very close family friend, and he was the one who started my love for reading. So you can see over
Nice,
here
nice.
me
And what's his
and
name?
my mom. His mom, I mean, his name is Leslie Albert Walter. I mean, that's why my book. I went for a pen name. I mean, I can't call
Yeah,
myself Walter, right? I'm an
yeah.
Asian,
So
so
nice.
I just
It's
went
a
with
pen name.
W.
Got it, got it. In homage to
So it's
him.
a
Lovely.
tribute to him. Yeah,
Mm, nice.
see,
Okay.
that is me.
Lovely.
Yeah, super cheeky. These are old photos. I mean, after we kind of drifted apart, I guess, as I got into my teenage and rebellious years. And then he passed on when I was, I think, about 19 or 20, because he was born in 1919. So he was very old.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's like a god granddad to me. And then another pictures. I couldn't fit it inside a box because I displayed it on my desk.
Okay,
This
that's
is a
is that.
Polaroid of 17.
Uh, and where was that? So that's your favorite K-pop band, and where did you see them? You just was randomly at the airport, and then you saw them walking by, or?
I was I went to Paris for a work trip. Did not expect that I would get to see them. So the day I landed, we had 1 day free, kind of, before we started work the next day. And then I realized that they were flying to Paris for a UNESCO Youth Heritage kind of program. And someone told me, since you're at the airport, why don't you go, try and see if you can see them? And
You never
I
know.
can tell you, I have not been into K-pop at all in my teenage years. So I'm a very, very late bloomer. And I don't chase stars. I think we need to maintain our distance. But to me, it was like a once in a lifetime opportunity. This is it seems really fated that I should be in Paris the day they land.
They are in Paris. It was meant to be. You were meant to meet.
Yeah, so I tried to follow the crowd, and I asked my sister who has been a K-pop fan since she was 17, which airline do you think they are flying? Then I'll go to the terminal and try to wait. And I managed to see all of them. Like I think one of them was on hiatus because of an injury, and they came in three separate flights. I saw them in three batches.
And you
Like
saw all of them.
this close, I saw all of them.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, so
It was meant to
it's a
be.
memory that I probably share with my kids.
Nice. And you have another item to share?
And probably books, my books that
Yeah.
the annotated books. So because this one has a lot of tabs, because I guess when I was writing the second book, I had to refer back to a lot of events to make sure that there were not there were no plot holes. So I actually tabbed it a lot. So this is a well thumbed copy. What kind of shirt are they wearing?
Hmm.
Um, who
So
said
so you
what?
so you refer to the published book. You don't have like your separate notes or in your laptop or your written notes
Oh,
or.
when I was writing the first book, it was just like everything was on a blank slate, so anything went. And
Ah,
I just worked on Word docs, and then during the structural edit stage and the copy edit stage, which weren't very extensive for book one. um I did not save any copy. So I worked off the
what?
published book just so I would not mess up anything, because things change as you write. And
Yeah.
you just have to make sure that at least the second book has to follow the published version of the first book, so that nothing goes wrong. So this one only has a very small tab, and I don't even know why it's there. uh,
What's that
oh
tab for? Oh, and you highlighted it as well.
yeah,
Ah,
I
okay.
think I was asked to do a reading. No, I can't remember. I
That's
look at
all.
it and I can't
It's
remember.
all feedback. It's really interesting getting to look into the insights of an actual published writer, so that you actually keep notes and tabs and stuff like that for the sequel. This is great, and thank you so much. So that was in terms of things that you wanted to share with your future grandkids, childhood photos, your godfather, and of course you had your published books, and then your picture and encounter with 17. But now on the show, because we're dear future grandkids, we like to pry into people's lives. Like I said, this show was created during the pandemic. We couldn't travel, so we could connect each other in Zoom, and we've got guests from all around the world. So we want to nosy around, and we want to find out that if you, Kayce, do you have a corner of shame? A corner where you dump all your rubbish. It's really messy that you won't like anyone to see. But of course, we like to share it with all of viewers here. So, are you game for that? Can you share with us your corner of shame?
I have many corners of shame in the room because it's so tiny. I
Yeah.
will not share my daughter's corner of shame because her table is really messy. But this
Okay.
this is mine. So actually, this is a bunk bed.
Yeah.
The kids are supposed to stay here,
Yeah.
but they don't. They
Oh,
sleep with us in
okay.
a tiny room, and it became just kind of a dumping ground for. Oh
So I
my
can see
God! You
just
see my bag?
toys, bags, everything is there.
Yeah. What is this? This is one of my many diaries, journals, power bank, my kids' books, bags that I did not keep. My daughter's hand warmer, the Hello Kitty. This is my Kpop merch. I have lots of. Okay, this is a hair straightener. Oh, so I'm sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay,
It's
with
okay.
one hand.
In terms of a
It's a
corner of
mess.
shame, you
Mm-hmm.
really have a lot of random items there, and you can tell it's just like dare I say, it's just like a dumping ground. Whatever,
Yeah,
whatever
and this
needs
is
to be put on
another
the surface is
corner.
there. What's that?
So I
It's
had to
just
rearrange
random
my
items.
table for
Yeah,
for the podcast, and then I had to take things off my table, and they're all here. I have to put them back later, to rearrange
Kayce,
them back later.
Kayce, thank you so much for sharing your corner of shame, and thank you for making me feel better about my life just a little. It's really difficult,
Mhm.
so that maybe my corner of shame isn't so bad. So thanks for sharing that. Now, Casey, we just want to check. Do you have your mobile phone near you?
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. So now this is part of the show where we want you to leave a message for someone, anyone that you think of, maybe perhaps someone that means a lot to you, maybe someone that you don't communicate with regularly, or maybe someone that you've been thinking about, but haven't had the time to connect. So we want to know if you can leave a voice message for us live on Dear Future Grandkids. So just pick up your phone, find that person and leave a voice message, and we like to hear it. And if you could tell us who that person is, or if you get a reply before the end of the show, that'd be fantastic.
Okay, I'll just do it. Hi, it's me. Very boliao, right? I just want to tell you I love you. I am so glad I have you in my life. I know you're gonna scold me for speaking English because you don't understand, but I will be here for you, and thanks for being here for me and everything that you've done. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So you left this message earlier, and just for all our viewers outside of Singapore who maybe don't understand, so Boliao is basically something random, and that's in Hokkien, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't.
And
Yeah. It's
so
actually 无聊 is it boring in it's Hokkien for oh my god, I know the Hokkien and I know the Chinese, but I don't know the English.
so it's just a
So
mix.
I
So
should,
it means like this is so random, right? So
yeah.
and you want to know who is that message for?
Someone I have known all her life, my sister. So
Okay.
I have a sister who is 6 years younger than me. And yeah, she scolds me all the time. Now I'm exposing her online. She scolds me all the time. We're so
Perfect.
different.
What do you think her reaction will be when she like randomly checks her phone and goes, why is my sister leaving me a voice message? Then she plays it and she hears this. You think she'll call you back, or will she send you a text to go like, are you nuts?
She'll probably send me one of her stickers. You know, let me see if I can find. She sends me stickers like that.
Okay.
She sends me. She's also a 17 fan, and she sends me stickers like that. Oh, this is our chat. Yeah. So
Sister
she'll
bonding.
probably do that, and then she'll probably just TSK me, just me, and then say, okay, I love you too. Bye.
It sounds like you got a really good relationship with your sister, and that's fantastic. So that's really nice of you to share in terms of the meaningful voice message. And also, Casey, we know that on the start of the show and also the promos that we're doing as well, we know that you're a published writer, but we also know that you have a day job. But is it hard to, or is it possible to earn a living as a full-time writer, like in Singapore?
I think it depends on where you're getting published, and it depends on how far your book goes. So if your publisher is able to distribute your book globally and give you a marketing campaign that makes your book travel very, very far, there might be a chance that you can make a living out of your book. So because when we write and we sell to the publishers, we get an advance. So I've heard
Yes.
more successful authors saying that actually most of the time you don't earn out your advance,
Yeah.
And only when you do, then the royalties start coming in. And writers are always writing because you're always writing for the next advance. So that keeps you going. And I mean, it then becomes a vicious circle, right? Because the more you write, the more exposed kind of you are, the more books you have, and the more you write, people can discover you on your fifth book, sixth book,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
they love your writing. They come back and buy your first, second, third. So you give your older books a new lease of life when you have a longer backlist too.
Yeah.
So yeah, but a lot of authors I know find it is hard. We generally do have day jobs, so we actually a lot of us write just for the pure love of writing because publishing can be very hard. Putting your book out there, it's putting a very very vulnerable part of yourself, I guess, because it is your writing, right? That book reviewers will review. They may hate your writing, they may love your writing. There may be a lot of criticism coming in. There's a lot to deal with, but at the core, I think what we believe in is that we write because we love writing, we love telling stories, and that will be what keeps us going. And anything sad to say, I guess, with any arts related career,
Yeah.
the money just becomes, a bonus. But you write because you love writing, and it gives you a sense of fulfillment.
Nice. It's definitely passion, and art form, and also obviously you need, I mean, so to speak, skills for that. And in Dear Future Grandkids, I mean, obviously we get really passionate guests on the show as well. But as part of it, we also want to know whether our guests have what we call a pointless skill, a skill that may be pointless to you or pointless to anyone. Just something random. So you must have a pointless skill. What is yours?
So I started my career after I graduated from NUS English Lit. It was the Lehman Brothers crisis. So I worked as a production assistant for academic journals. So I used to proofread, make sure that the um, authors' changes were made in the journals. And yeah, so I used to proofread a lot. And after that, my pointless skill is that I can. I always tell people I can spot a double space from a mile away. Okay, maybe
So,
not a mile, but I can spot a double space.
so does it interfere with your life now in terms of what something that you're reading? Instead
Oh
of
yes, it does.
reading,
Oh my god.
proofreading everything and you're spotting mistakes because it's so glaring for you, you can't help it.
Yes, it's a work hazard. Even when you go out to restaurants and you read the menu, you go like, oh, they spelled this wrongly. Did they
There's no
proofread it?
there's no full stop, or the full stop is not supposed to be there, the comma and everything else. You know what? That's not
Yes.
exactly a pointless skill, and there's no way to prove it, but we're gonna have to believe you. Okay. Fantastic. So Casey, in terms of that, can you tell us more about your childhood? What was it like growing up in Singapore?
Mm, I guess I was a very sheltered kid. Uh, my mom was a stay at home mom, and then just go to kindergarten, come back, and I studied in a convent school for the first 6 years of my life. Um, so my mom didn't. She had never gone to school, so she speaks a mixture of Chinese and Teochew. And then my dad went to a Chinese school and only picked up English very very late on in life. And my Gong Gong was one of the key figures. He's actually the key figure for my love for reading and writing because when I was young and when he stayed over with us, he would read books to me.
Yeah.
And that's when I started reading. Yeah, so that's me very, very long ago. And he actually was more like grandfather to me than my maternal and paternal grandfathers, which I'm not super close with.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and as a Singaporean growing up in 80s, 90s, it's just very sheltered. I keep saying it's very sheltered. Singapore has been a very safe place, and um, I like to study, so I'm
Mm.
always burying my nose in a book. And then we would chase, for PSLE scores, go into a school that we want.
Yeah.
And I guess probably in secondary and polytechnic was the period where I started getting rebellious. But even then, it was not so bad, where I would play truant in my polytechnic years, because you only have to make 75% attendance.
Which is
So
which is easy and doable. Yeah.
yeah, so every 4 lessons, me and my friends would skip one lesson and we would go KTV. So that was probably the
So
most rebellious part.
so to everyone who don't know what KTV is karaoke. So just think about you now and telling us that even when you're rebellious, you still rebel within the confines. You know that you only have to make 75% of the attendance. You could miss the 25 and not get in trouble. Now that's a hallmark of compliant and in a safe space and following the rules like what Singapore is like. It's really, really
Yes,
interesting.
yes.
Now, and
Very,
also
very
in terms of that,
Singaporean Singapore.
yeah, and what lessons did you learn from your mom in particular? Because you said at some point where you weren't happy, and then she gave you some advice in terms of your job, didn't
Yes,
she?
so I did a little bit of back and forth in terms of my studies. I mentioned that I did a diploma in chemical process technology. Now it's called food technology.
Yeah,
So I did it. I I mean it was fun because I liked science, but I didn't see myself being in a lab or in a factory doing QC work for the rest of my life. So I told myself, okay, as long as I work hard, I can get good enough results to go to a university. And when I go to a university, that's when I will change my course, right?
yeah,
Which is what I did. So I went back to my first love, reading,
yeah.
writing, English literature. And when I came out, because it was the Lehman Brothers financial crisis, I didn't manage to get a job that I love. I thought that I would. Oh, sorry, there was a pop
That's
up.
okay.
Just now the message that I sent to my sister.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
replied me. You all know
Yeah,
what she replied? She
what
said,
she
"You
said.
miss me, right?"
I tell you what, you guys got a good relationship. Really close, obviously we can tell.
Yeah, and she said, "Are you doing a challenge? Why you emo?
Well, it's
You
kind of
scared
a
I die,
challenge.
ah?"
Oh,
Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, that is her. That is me. And even though
oh,
I told her that I'm going online for an interview, see, she's not listening in.
she's not. She's not gonna
Yeah,
listen.
she's not.
She'll just bug you. So it's
Yeah.
so your mom's extremely close, and she just gave you some right advice in terms of
Yeah,
finding
so
what you love
so
and being happy, right?
yes, so I did that. I came out, I was in a job that I hated because there was no creativity involved in the job. Because you don't need creativity when you're proofreading and you're trying to make sure that whatever is on the website matches whatever is printed in the
Yeah,
journal, right?
yeah,
So I was very, very miserable. And then I actually spoke to my mom. I think at a period of time I was crying, and I was afraid to quit the job without finding another job, and the job market was really bad. So, and I remember my mom telling me, and actually after that several times or so with different things, that she told me that your happiness matters the most to both to her and myself. And she said that you have to be happy. uh, from in terms of money, you can earn it back in the future, but we didn't call it mental health at that point in time. But she just said you have to be comfortable. You cannot be miserable, because otherwise you're going to wake up every day and feel very sad. And happiness matters. So she told me that, and eventually at that point in time it didn't stick with me, but eventually as I grew older and I kind of it I'm always reminded. So if I'm in a situation which I feel is not doing great for my mental health, and there's basically no point in bearing with it for the time being, because things are not going to get better. Even if things get better, they may not be where I want to be. So usually nowadays I will remove myself from the situation, and that goes with jobs, friendships, people, and all that. Yeah.
It's like real advice given to your mom that has made you realize that, and if you're currently and always applying it, which is wonderful, and obviously it's something that you will pass down to your children and in turn, perhaps grandchildren as well. Fantastic. Thank you
Yes,
for sharing.
yes.
Thank you for sharing that with us. And also, we know that in terms of your work in communications as well, has taken you to different countries and interviewing celebrities as well. You've met some famous celebrities, and we got some pictures to share, right? I think,
Oh
like
yes,
we can
that was
we can
during
throw
my Singapore press holdings years.
yeah, we can
So I
throw
used to
some
work in
names.
magazine.
Okay, and then who are some of the celebrities you met? Like
I
Lily
met
Collins,
I
right?
met Lily Collins back in those days. I really really liked her, and I bought her book. I read her book, and I brought it to the workplace. And oh my god, I didn't bring it out. It was this is Taylor Hill. So she
Okay, yeah,
was one of the
yeah,
Victoria's
that's
Secret
Lily
interns.
Collins.
This is Lily
Yeah,
Collins. Yeah, so
yeah,
I have a signed copy of her book.
nice.
And I met her when I was working as a beauty writer for Her World magazine. Yeah, and yeah, she's really lovely in person. And I thought and she's much taller than I expected. Much taller. Yeah.
Nice, nice. How is it? Do you miss this part of the job in terms of being a beauty writer and meeting all these celebrities?
It was so much fun,
Hmm.
but it was it. I I tell people it's a job that is suitable when you're young. But right now I have two kids. I
Got
really
it.
need to, my roots. I can't move. So yeah. So it's better for me. I think that's why I moved to a ministry. It's not a ministry of communications actually. It's a ministry. One of the ministries in Singapore. I don't want to say which one in case
Yeah,
I get into trouble.
you don't
But
have to. You don't have
it's a
to.
ministry. It's a ministry comms. They do very good work. I think for the people of Singapore, and it's fulfilling. I meet with very very passionate people who are
Nice.
um who are very passionate about their job. Yeah, so that is good. And it's just a different phase of my life, I guess. It was good when I really enjoyed my time as a beauty writer, and right now I'm enjoying my life with my kids and as a comms professional, and just having I I am hoping a rather stable job.
Yes, I think you know what, it's just, this day and age, it's getting harder and harder in terms of the real rise in the cost of living and inflation. And I think gone are the days where there's any job security. I mean, obviously you have to earn your keep, but these days it's just getting more and more difficult to maintain a job in the corporate sector, I feel. And then also
Mm,
companies are becoming quite ageist as well. It's when you get reach a certain age, usually you can work to retirement. And I feel now it's just getting difficult in terms of that. And also with the cost of living, can anyone even really retire? And also
mm,
for able-bodied people, or and they are all clued up, but they may not have jobs to go to because it goes, oh, you reach a certain stage and level, you might be too expensive, or they feel like too old.
yes,
And
yes.
then yeah, so I think that's tough. But it is what it is, and you're doing great because obviously you've got your corporate job and also you're pursuing your passions. Um, um, what do you think is the most important thing that people should know about you?
Mm, oh my goodness, I can't remember right now. But what is the most important thing? If I say something, I mean it. So I
Okay.
will not force myself to say nice things just to make you feel better. So if I'm not the kind of person who will offer help for the sake of offering, but in my heart, I'm hoping that, oh my God, please do not take me up on my offer. I'm just offering help because it's the nice thing to do. I only say things that I mean it. So if I offer someone, or do you need help with this? Do you need me to do this? I can do this for you. You can always call me if you run into any issues. If I say that to you, I really mean it, and I will do it for you. I won't say it and then try to, and ghost you when you need help. Yeah. So I'm very, very careful about saying only things that I mean. Yeah. So that is that is me.
You know what, and that's a great thing to be remembered for. That means you mean what you say, and you will fulfill it. And I think that's fantastic. Kayce, thank you so much for hanging out with us today and building this video time capsule today. So as we close the show, you get to leave a message. Now, what do you want to say to your future grandkids?
I would say to my future grandkids that when you are young, a lot of things actually seem very, very big. And at different phases of your life, you will encounter different challenges. But I think the most important gift in life is to know its health and safety and your mental well-being. So physically, you need to be physically and mentally fit. I think that is one of the greatest gifts that anyone can have that we often overlook. And you always pray for safety. That's what I tell my kids every time, every single time. I tell them, my birthday wish is just for all of us to be healthy, happy, and safe. And I think when you have these three things, you can, whatever challenges life throws at you, you will be able to handle.
I love that. Healthy, happy, and safe. Kayce, thank you
Yes,
so much
safe.
for being on the show today. It's
Thank you for
absolutely
having
fantastic
me.
having you on. And thank you to our viewers for watching as well. Shout out to Heather and Kawaii Donna for watching the show. And thank you for all your comments as well. Remember, you can find us live here on Facebook and on YouTube as well. And this has been Dear Future Grandkids, where we look to the past to give us lessons for the future. Now, before we say goodbye, Kayce, let's very quickly say and show your books. When is the latest book going to come out?
Ah,
The parts, the trilogy.
oh, these are my oh, thank you. You have my books. Okay, so uh, okay, the third book was supposed to come out in June, but there were some deadlines that were missed. So they are relooking the timeline, and I'm not sure if it will be published this year, but if not by the end of this year, then hopefully beginning of next year.
Perfect.
Yeah,
We'll definitely look out for it for sure.
thank you so
And
much.
no worries. And thank you for being on the show. We'll definitely be looking out for that. And thank you all for watching Dear Future Grandkids. We'll see you at the same time, same place next week. Take care and bye bye.